Now on Coast TV News.
The dangerous heat wave continues today. Record highs likely near 100 degrees with an extreme heat warning across interior Sussex County, meaning another code red day today. One more as we go into tomorrow. Then we get a break with some rain chances. Details coming up.
A heat wave hits. The extra level of attention our lifeguards have with eyes on the water and the sand.
Deadly shooting standoff. We pieced together the tense situation that gripped the Angola area on Monday.
Better access on the Broadkill. What Milton officials are considering for kayakers looking to make their way down the river.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And we continue with our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. It is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, we are operating again under a first alert weather day. The heat is making its presence known.
And you just said it's too hot, but you're Mr. Summertime. You love the heat. What is that? It's only been 2 days of this, Matt.
You know what? Yes, it's too hot, but I will not trade it for other conditions. But I can also I can live in both worlds. I can live in the too hot world, but also not wanting other seasons.
Very adjustable. All right, well, we're going to bring in first meteorologist Bob Trihey to tell us about this too hot forecast that Matt and I have been talking about. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, guys. I didn't know Matt was so anti-fall, but yeah, we'll see how people feel about the heat after tomorrow. We're looking at that intense heat and a very warm start already today into the 70s, 80 in Georgetown, 80 Bethany Beach, 83 in Lewis, 74 in Laurel, and dew point temperatures well into the 70s. Really anything over 70 degrees is extremely humid and it's very muggy, and that's what's going to make for dangerous heat later today. Feels like temperatures 87 in Rehoboth, 84 in Georgetown. Excessive heat warning interior Sussex County. That goes until Wednesday evening. Along the immediate coast, it's a heat advisory. You're only slightly cooler. Salisbury to Pittsville, and then down into Newark, we're looking at an extreme heat warning through Wednesday evening. Along the coast around Ocean City, heat advisory through tomorrow evening, and then extreme heat warning for the eastern shore. That extends all the way from Maine through Boston, New York, Washington. They're expected to see actual temperatures in the triple digits today. We're not going to have any shade from any kind of clouds, or really no wind at all, as we have that heat dome just to our west and that high pressure just to our west with that heat dome right over the top of us, just making us bake. So we're quickly warming through the 80s this morning, and then by late morning we're into the lower 90s. By noon, mid 90s from Salisbury to Millsboro, 80s and 90s at the coast, and then by mid-afternoon flirting with 100, I think, near US 13, west of 113, mid to upper 90s from Georgetown and Millsboro, and slightly cooler at the beaches. And feels like temperatures, this is the part that's dangerous, could feel like in excess of 110 degrees as we go into the afternoon. So get on the ferry, go on the water, get a little cooler, so to speak. 80s this morning and then 90s, even hot there heading up to Cape May with very light winds. Much more on the intense heat coming up a little bit later on.
All right, thanks, Bob. And right now we're looking live at Dover, where even with the sun rising, temperatures are already near that 80-degree mark, and we are bracing for another hot day. High temperatures, the top story this hour. Delmarva dealing with its first heat wave of the summer season. Lifeguards in Rehoboth Beach keeping an eye out for people displaying signs of heat exhaustion or heat stroke, but lifeguards also have to stay cool in this heat, and one tells us they take care of themselves by staying away from sugary drinks like soda or Gatorade.
Nutrition as well. Getting in the water, doing the water workouts is really a saving grace when it comes to these long, hotter days.
You can stay updated on all weather-related events with our Coast TV First Alert Weather app.
And the Delaware Department of Health and Social Services is offering cooling stations to anyone in need. The agency says the facilities will be open today from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. both today and tomorrow. In Sussex County, people can head to Adams State Service Center in Georgetown, Bridgeville State Service Center, Laurel State Service Center, and Milford State Service Center. And this is now going to bring us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what's your go-to way to beat the heat.
Yeah, let's take a look at the updated results. 87% of you say AC indoors, the place to be.
I agree with that.
I do too. Yeah. Got that beach breeze. I think if you had that option with the water and 8% there, and a couple people voting for cold drinks and shade breaks. If you haven't voted yet, you can still at coasttv.com or on the mobile app. Developing news as we move on. Investigators continue their work after the Monday standoff in Angola. Delaware State Police say it's a situation that began late Sunday night into the early hours of Monday morning. It's when they responded to a welfare check on 49-year-old Jason Arnold in Dagsboro. Troopers say they learned that Arnold was in a black Honda Pilot, and then when confronted, Arnold and State Police traded gunfire before Arnold ran into his family's house on Blackwood Drive in Angola.
And here's the area we were talking about. According to troopers, this is where suspect Jason Arnold was found. And Delaware State Police say Arnold barricaded himself inside that home on Blackwood Drive over the following hours. Members of DSP's Special Operations Response Team and Crisis Management Team attempted to negotiate with Arnold for a surrender, but eventually authorities did enter that home, and they say they found Arnold dead from shooting himself. This whole saga ended around noon on Monday. One neighbor CoastTV spoke with says this is the last thing they would expect in this area.
Definitely different, a little scary with the kids. Went out back, just really close to home, so a little worrisome, especially when you kind of sleep through it.
And to be clear, no officers were injured. One neighbor, a 69-year-old woman, was injured but has since been released with minor injuries.
Happening today, Ocean View police are taking big steps to protect students by hosting specialized training for active shooter attacks. This is taking place at Lord Baltimore Elementary, and officers say school shootings are increasing across the country. This course runs until June 26.
Happening today, over 10 bills are scheduled for review in Delaware's House of Representatives. 0 is the number of days District 20 Democratic Representative Stell Parker Selby has attended Legislative Hall this year. She has missed every single House vote in 2025, and there are only 4 legislative days remaining in this year's part of the 153rd session. Stell Parker Selby's absence has been attributed to a massive stroke this winter. That session started back in January, and she was sworn in at home in March. And at that time, the Speaker of the House told CoastTV she hoped Stell Parker would be back soon.
Sussex County commissioners are looking at a conditional use ordinance for a field office. This is at the Nature Conservancy in Milton. This is a property. It's nearly 4 acres on the north side of Round Pole Bridge Road. Property was donated to the Conservancy in 1999. When complete, 2 staff members will work in the office. A public hearing for the request takes place at today's council meeting. That's at 1:30 p.m.
Happening tonight in Milton, discussion to improve outdoor recreation. According to the agenda, the Parks and Recreation Committee will discuss a park master plan and a new kayak launch. People currently use the boat ramp for getting kayaks in and out of the water. That's something the committee says is way more difficult. And tonight's meeting is happening at 6 o'clock at the Chamber of Commerce.
New this morning, St. Martha's Episcopal Church in Bethany Beach is welcoming J1 international students to its 18th annual picnic. According to the church this year, the event honors organizer Bill Gay, who helped put the event together for many years. Free Picnic is set to offer a full American-style dinner donated by over 30 local employers. There's going to be desserts, games, and even bicycle repairs. It's all happening today at 5:30.
Tonight in Seaford, dealing with delinquent electrical bills and speeding in Seaford at the council meeting, city officials are expected to present an ordinance they say would change electric notification and service termination rules. The city's chief of police is set to make recommendations to combat speeding on East Ivy Drive. All this is taking place tonight at 7 o'clock.
We're now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. President Trump leaving the nation's capital. He's heading to the Netherlands for the NATO summit. This after Iran and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire. However, details of it are still unclear.
And as Amy Kiley shows us, organizers expect Iran to come up during those talks, otherwise focused on Europe.
The news about Iran is at this moment grabbing all the headlines.
President Donald Trump heads to the NATO summit today as lawmakers back in the U.S. receive briefings on Iran. Trump says it started a ceasefire with Israel overnight, though the details of it weren't immediately clear. Meanwhile, Qatar says it intercepted Iran's missile attack on a U.S. base yesterday, and that follows U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities over the weekend.
You cannot bomb away Iran's nuclear program into zero. There's knowledge. So we need negotiations that are serious. There are steps ahead.
NATO Secretary General acknowledges Iran is likely to come up during the summit. He says its actions affect Europe.
Iran is heavily involved in the fight of Russia against Ukraine by, for example, their drones deliveries, which are killing innocent Ukrainians without any respect for life.
Analysts say defense spending is likely to be the key focus of the summit. U.S. support for Ukraine is cooling under Trump. He also wants NATO members to contribute 5% of their gross domestic products to defense. Some are still short of the current goal of 2%.
I think they're very worried about potential future U.S. force posture cuts in Europe. And frankly, also the fact of the matter that there is an unraveling transatlantic consensus on both Ukraine and Russia.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And we are just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Yeah, coming up, protecting your pets. We'll tell you how you can keep your furry friends cool during the extreme heat.
Also, Georgetown Safety Solutions will tell you how officials say the town has suffered without safe biking roadways.
And American money dreams. How much people say they need to make to feel financially comfortable. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
It is exactly 6:13 on this sultry Tuesday morning. 82 in Dover. That sizzling sunshine already starting to do its thing with 70s and 80s already, lower 80s even at the beaches with very high dew points well into the 70s and some heat index values already mid to upper 80s. We're headed for the triple digits today as we're looking at clear skies, and we're not going to have any shelter from the clouds or any kind of wind as we're looking at this heat dome continuing to cook us. So staying cool in the heat. You already know a lot of these. Wear loose, lightweight, light colored clothing, drink plenty of fluids, limit time outdoors, wear a hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, and spend a lot of time in air conditioning. I plan on doing that later today.
Happening now in Salisbury, overnight closures are in effect. Crews are working on Snow Hill Road to extend water and sewer lines for future housing developments. The city says the road will be closed between Robbins Avenue and Toadvine Road. This continues every night from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. through Friday. And officials say there are detours in place.
And also happening in Salisbury, a road closure and a temporary water shutoff. It's underway as part of a utility repair project. City officials say East North Point Drive is closed today as crews replace a 12-inch water valve. Work is happening in two phases, one running through 1 p.m. and the second starting at 9 tonight, ending by 3 a.m. Wednesday. According to the city, people living in Addison Court apartments will experience a water shutoff during this time.
According to a new survey from Bankrate, 45% of Americans think they would need more than $100,000 or more a year to feel comfortable. A quarter of Americans say it would take $150,000 or more. But on the flip side, 45% of Americans said they would feel financial freedom making less than six figures. Overall, 32% said they didn't feel they would ever feel completely financially secure.
Americans choosing the buy now, pay later option could see an impact on their credit scores. FICO, that's the company that developed the most widely used U.S. credit score, has plans for a new credit score model. It factors in BNPL loan data to evaluate credit worthiness. FICO expects the new model will be ready for release this fall.
We're seeing hazy conditions, warm in Laurel right now in the Tyndall's Casual Furniture Camp as we're gearing up for more dangerous heat today. Extreme heat prompting another code red day. Record-breaking heat likely and more extreme heat into Wednesday. Then we get a break with some clouds and some showers. I'll have much more on this dangerous heat in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
We're closing in at 6:18 on this Tuesday morning, and you're looking live at the canal in Lewis, where later today we expect to see busy boating activity there. Bob's second first alert weather day, and there's more on the way.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. The water is the place to be today, whether on the water or poolside. Definitely want to find a place to get relief from the heat, and it will be another scorcher. It's in the storyline, hazy, hot, and humid. Temperatures near 100 today. I think interior parts of Delmarva will see that, and heat indices in some cases exceeding 110 degrees. So once again, dangerous heat, high UV index, and Wednesday more the same, maybe a degree or two cooler, but still very hot as the UV index remains high, and we're closing in on records. I'm thinking about 99 in Georgetown today. That will eclipse the previous record of 97 set back in 2010. And Wednesday, I think we'll see another record high of 97, eclipsing 96 back in 1952. Will we hit 100 in Georgetown? That's the big question. The last time we did that was July 21st in 2019. As the extreme heat warning continues, interior Sussex County, this continues through Wednesday evening. It'll be a few degrees cooler at the beaches. That's why you have a heat advisory until Wednesday evening from Lewis to Fenwick Island, interior Salisbury, Wycomico County, back through Worcester County, Dorchester as well. You're going to be very hot, excessive heat with a heat advisory for Worcester County and the Eastern Shore, also seeing that excessive heat. That also is up into the major metro areas of D.C., New York, and Boston, and down into Norfolk and eastern North Carolina as well. So this heat wave is expansive, basically the eastern half of the country. 80 in Georgetown now, 83 in Lewis, 80 in Bethany Beach, and the dew point temperatures well into the 70s, indicating the very muggy conditions. You've heard the saying, it's not the heat, it's the humidity, and that's what really gets you. So you really have to be careful on this heat, as feels like temperatures approaching 90 in some places. Winds are light. We're not going to have a lot of clouds or wind today, so you have to find some shade, and Mother Nature is not going to help us out as we have this hot dome of high pressure, and it's still sitting over the top of us from Florida all the way up into Maine. Here's Futurecast as we're quickly rising into the 80s, already 90 in Long Neck by 9 a.m., mid-90s by the noon hour, with 80s and 90s at the coast, and then upper 90s from Millsboro to Delmarva, close to 100 in Salisbury. I think that's where you can see the century mark with cooler conditions at the beaches, and then very warm and muggy through the overnight. By Wednesday morning, we're into the 70s. Once again, another hot day on Wednesday, with mid to upper 90s, maybe a couple of degrees cooler than today, with 80s and 90s at the coast. This is good to see. Maybe some showers and storms popping up as soon as Wednesday evening. And this is the nastiest muggy meter I've seen in a long time. Very humid to miserable conditions. This is what makes it dangerous the next couple of days, and that continues into the weekend. Then we see some relief with showers and storms, especially into the afternoons, Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend as well. So that will take the edge off the heat as that ridge of high pressure collapses. 100 from Harrington down to Laurel today, maybe even 100 in Georgetown, 99 Easton, 100 in Federalsburg, and then Salisbury, maybe 101 for you, Pocomoke City 100, Chincoteague 92. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, one more code red day tomorrow with a high of 97, and then Thursday 88 showers and storms. It does cool down, and 79 is going to feel wonderful on Friday. More showers and storms and some rain into the weekend. Won't be a washout with temperatures in the upper 80s, some storms, and then back into the lower 90s Monday, and still a chance of some storms.
All right, thank you, Bob. In Georgetown, the latest attempt to improve areas for bicyclists and pedestrians. At Monday's town council meeting, DelDOT presented a study focused on crash data and pedestrian trends from North to South Bedford Street and East and West Market Street. Georgetown Mayor Bill West says more safety measures are needed.
We've got a lot of people on bicycles. We have lost, I think, 4 people out on the highway that have been run over by cars. We've got to start looking at more safety products to make it safer for the people of Georgetown.
The study DelDOT and Georgetown are working with, it started in 2023.
Still ahead, protecting your pets will tell you how to help your furry friend if they begin to show heat-related symptoms. Don't go anywhere.
Happening today, a change of plans for one event in Lewis. According to the city, its summer concert series is also feeling the effects of the extreme heat. And they say the event is moving inside to Cape Henlopen High School. It's Matt Lefferty and the pros from Dover. They're set to perform tonight.
This extreme heat is dangerous for humans, but also for our furry friends. At the Humane Animal Partners in Rehoboth Beach, dogs were seen playing in the shaded area and even in a small pool. HAP shared some tips you should know and keep in mind while taking care of your pet.
Keep the walks short and sweet. When it's hot outside, if you do take them for too long of a walk or they are having a heat stroke, signs of that would be excessive panting, excessive drooling, difficulty breathing, vomiting, diarrhea, pale colored or a different color gums, which would be bright red or blue or purple.
And HEP says if any of that occurs, you need to bring your pet inside and try to cool them down as best as you can. And sticking with the hot weather, we have another hot day on Delmarva. Bob was saying it's already 80 degrees in some areas right now. This is the cooler part of the day.
This is, the sun isn't at full peak. And,
yes.
I think it's easy. Bob, the coast, a little bit cooler. We talked about that earlier, but man, you're not.
Just
not
a few
much,
degrees.
yeah.
It's going to be
not going to
hot.
feel it.
And that sand is going to be really hot, so make sure you wear your beach shoes for sure. And the lows this morning, we didn't really drop below 76 in a lot of places. In a lot of places, not even below 80. Assateague and Chincoteague today, upper 80s, close to 90. When it's near 90 at the beach, you know it's a hot day. UV index is extreme. Fenwick Island, 93 at noon. Upper 80s in Ocean City, maybe a little cooler there. Rip current threat is low, but make sure you swim with a buddy. On the Bayside, flirting with 100 today in Cambridge. Slightly cooler Wednesday, and then cooler Thursday. Increasing storms. Similar conditions in Crisfield. A little cooler for you. I think you too could see some storms on Thursday as we do break the back of this heat wave, so to speak, by the end of the week. Much more on the intense heat coming up in the next half hour.
And after the break on CoastTV News Today, Deportation Partnership will tell you about the new Supreme Court ruling that could make deportations easier for the Trump administration.
Also, legislative days dwindling down. Today starts another week in the Delaware General Assembly, and Representative Stell Parker Selby is still a no-show.
And today is another red alert day on Delmarva. We'll show you what lifeguards along the coast do to stay cool. CoastTV News Today will be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Dangerous heat wave continues today with record highs likely near 100. An extreme heat warning continues across much of the area with another code red day. One more day of extreme heat tomorrow, then a break from the heat, and then a better rain chance. I'll have details coming up.
Yeah, sizzling heat story. We hear from those who protect our beaches and those who take care of our health on how to handle these extreme temperatures.
Deadly Delaware situation, the aftermath of the standoff with state police that ended with the death of the suspect.
District 20 denied representation with Delaware's House set to reconvene this afternoon. Approximately 23,000 registered voters continue not to have a voice at Legislative Hall.
This is Coast TV News Today.
June 24th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
6:30. It's only the fourth full day of summer. It already has that late July, early August feel to it.
But these hot temperatures, they don't affect you because you're such a cool person.
You have just vaulted to the #1 spot on Matt's favorite people list.
You're welcome. Well, Bob, though, besides Matt, these hot temperatures, they're affecting all of us because it's a little steamy outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little steamy outside for sure. And good morning, Elisa and Matt. And it's hot and people think, well, if it's this hot now, it's going to be really hot July and August. This could be the hottest stretch of the summer that we're seeing right now. And out the door, 70s, 80 in Georgetown, 83 in Lewis, 81 in Rehoboth already. Very muggy. Anytime you see dew points over 70, that's humid, and into the mid-70s, that's what makes it dangerous as we go into the afternoon. It feels like temperatures already 88 in Rehoboth, 84 in Georgetown, and headed for the triple digits. That's why we have an extreme heat warning, interior Sussex County until 8 p.m. tomorrow. Right along the coast, you're going to be a few degrees cooler. So a heat advisory there, while Salisbury, Pittsville to Berlin, extreme heat warning through tomorrow evening. But for Ocean City, heat advisory. Worcester County and the Eastern Shore, extreme heat warning. That extends all the way from North Carolina right through the major metro areas to D.C., New York, and Boston, where their actual temperatures today will be in excess of 100 degrees. We're not going to have any shade today, no clouds, no wind to really protect us. You're going to have to do it on your own with high pressure still to our west with that bubble of heat all across the East Coast. So the whole East Coast is baking as we're seeing temperatures quickly rising into the upper 80s by 9. And then by noon, we're in the mid 90s. And then I think west of 113, you have a better chance of hitting 100 today. Slightly cooler 80s and 90s at the beaches. And then feels like temperatures in some cases in excess of 110 degrees. So that car gets fast. Gets hot, hopefully not fast, but it gets hot in a hurry in the morning with this kind of heat. I gave it the green light this morning, and that car temperature could reach in excess of 130 this afternoon. So be extra careful out there and make sure you check for pets and kids before you get out of the car.
All right, thank you, Bob. And we are now taking a live look outside at Ocean City, and it's already warm out there like it is the rest of Delmarva. And your best bet today is probably to be in the water or on a boat feeling the breeze from some of that air there, but be careful today as you are outside with these extreme temperatures. And sunscreen in the sand and water bottles on the boardwalk. Doctors and lifeguards say you need both to stay safe in this heat.
West Coast TV news reporter Zakia Jennings shows us what lifeguards are saying on avoiding heat illnesses.
Keeping an eye on beachgoers from the Rehoboth Beach Patrol Station. That's what Ella Murray, a lifeguard and EMT, does on a daily basis. Murray says properly hydrating is key to staying safe in the summer heat.
I'd say the biggest misconception is people come out here and they're drinking sodas, they're drinking sugary drinks like Gatorade, and they think that that's hydrating them, and it's actually doing the opposite. It's very dehydrating.
Dr. Nick Perchiniak with BB Healthcare shared how you can spot the difference in heat illnesses. With heat exhaustion,
typically you get dizziness, headache, sometimes there can be nausea and vomiting.
And with a heat stroke,
the true medical emergency is patients will often have mental status change. So that could be confusion, could be seizure activity, or unfortunately they can become unresponsive. And heat stroke is a true medical emergency.
Dr. Perchiniak urges people to call 911 if they notice that someone is having a heat stroke or they are unresponsive. Murray says, don't forget your sunscreen.
Just from the very beginning of the day, make sure you're hydrated and have that sunscreen on.
Because summer sun is the reason people love the coast. But no one wants that beach trip to end in the ER.
And as we are getting ready for another day in this heat wave, cooling centers are opening across Delmarva, including one in Wicomico County. The cooling center is there at the Wicomico County Civic Center. It's operational through Wednesday night. It'll reopen today from 1 to 7 p.m. and then again on Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. We now have an update to the shooting investigation in Sussex County. Police say the situation began late Sunday night and into the early hours of Monday morning. Delaware State Police say they were responding to a welfare check on Jason Arnold in Dagsboro. This was at the 32,000 block of CDAG Circle. Troopers say they learned that Arnold was in a black Honda Pilot, and then when confronted by troopers, Arnold and authorities traded gunfire before Arnold ran into his family's house on Blackwood Drive in Angola.
Delaware State Police say Arnold barricaded himself inside that home on Blackwood Drive over the following hours. Members of DSP's Special Operations Response Team and Crisis Management Team attempted to negotiate with Arnold for a surrender, but eventually authorities did enter that home, and they say they found Arnold dead from shooting himself. This whole saga ended around noon on Monday, and to be clear, no officers were injured. One neighbor, a 69-year-old woman, was injured but has since been released with minor injuries.
Happening today, Ocean View Police are taking big steps to protect students by hosting specialized training for active shooter attacks. Police are hosting training at Lord Baltimore Elementary. Officers say school shootings, they're increasing across the country, and this course is happening now until June 26th.
Happening today, over 10 bills are scheduled for review in Delaware's House of Representatives. 0 is the number of days District 20 Democratic Representative Stell Parker Selby has attended Legislative Hall this year. She has missed every single House vote in 2025, and there are only 4 legislative days remaining in this part of the 153rd session. Stell Parker Selby's absence has been attributed to a massive stroke this winter. That session began back in January. She was sworn in at home in March, and at that time, the Speaker of the House told CoastTV she hoped Stell Parker would be back soon.
Getting a big development in 2 high-profile murder cases. Delaware Governor Matt Meyer, along with Attorney General Kathy Jennings, are set to announce indictments in 2 cases out of Newcastle County. Officials say one of the indictments involves a cold case. State officials are gathering today at the Carville Building in Wilmington at 1:30 p.m.
Also happening today, Maryland Governor Wes Moore is in Ocean City with a packed public schedule. According to his office, the governor will first deliver remarks at the Maryland Police Executives Association Top Cop Breakfast. His day also includes speaking at an event hosted by the Maryland Coastal Bays Program, and he will end his day at the Maryland Municipal League Summer Conference Block Party.
We're now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. Supreme Court siding with one part of the Trump administration's efforts of deporting convicted criminals to third countries, which they have no previous connection to. The Department of Homeland Security can now quickly deport detainees they deem as dangerous to countries such as South Sudan, which has arrangements with the U.S. government to accept them. The department calls it a victory for the safety of the American people. 3 justices on the court dissented, one writing that the court is rewarding lawlessness by violating or allowing the violation of due process.
Oil prices plunged more than 7% Monday. Prices started tumbling after Iranian missiles launched towards a U.S. base in Qatar were intercepted. A more than 7% drop represents the biggest one-day decline since early April. The steep sell-off wiped out an initial strike Sunday night, driven by concerns Iran could lash out by targeting energy infrastructure in the Middle East.
A lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, a new trail is now open, and we'll give you a look at that area in Wycomico County.
Also, a back-and-forth battle at DE Turf and the late gold at the site of the match between Indian River and Polytech.
And historical marker for Maryland hero will show you the new marker honoring Harriet Tubman near her birthplace in Dorchester County. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Exactly 6:41, and we're starting to get pretty warm on this Tuesday morning. 82 in Dover on the Bay Health Cam. Has that hot look to it, doesn't it? 70s and 80s out the door right now. Even lower 80s already at the beaches. Very muggy conditions. Anytime we see dew points well into the 70s, that's extremely muggy, and that's what will make it dangerous later on. Already feeling like upper 80s in a lot of cases with clear skies. Not going to see any clouds, a lot of wind. We just have that hot dome over the top of us with the extreme heat this afternoon. So if you're golfing, use extreme caution as you go into the afternoon hours. A lot of water, take breaks. 99, feeling like 110 degrees with the humidity. And congratulations to Linda Bosco. Linda can use her umbrella to shield herself from the sun today, and then use it for rain later in the week. She's from Milton. Congratulations to her from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
An update to a story we brought to you on Monday. An icon of American and Eastern Shore history, Harriet Tubman was born in Dorchester County sometime around 1822. Now, some 200 years later, we took a look at a new landmark to honor the abolitionist. While it's been known Tubman was born in Dorchester County, Maryland archaeologists have recently located where her childhood home may have been. Relatives say this marker and the new discoveries will give a window into the life Tubman lived before she escaped slavery.
Anytime there is something honoring Harriet Tubman, especially honoring her birthplace and where she came from and correcting those things is very important, because the family has always known where Harriet is actually from, where she was actually born, because we've grown up in those areas ourselves.
And the marker unveiling was attended by plenty of local and state leaders, including Governor Wes Moore and Congressman Andy Harris.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good morning, sports fans. We head to DE Turf, a back-and-forth battle between two Henlopen squads in boys lacrosse. Indian River and Polytech. We are at DE Turf. We will start things off with Eli Whaley of Polytech dodging everybody and able to get the first goal, making the score 1-0 in the first quarter. Moving on, Jack Spencer of Indian River slings the rock into the net, tying at 1-1 in the first. Spencer dodges Polytech's defense and scores for the Indians, giving Indian River a 2-1 lead in the first quarter. Now into the second, Alex Santiago runs up to the net and slings it in, tying it 3-3. Brennan Luce of Indian River, absolute sniper from way outside, giving the lead back to the Indians with a score of 4-3. Now in the third quarter, Gage Costanzo of Polytech doing his thing, giving the lead back to the Panthers with a score of 6-5. Back and forth we go. Spencer jumps up and gets it, giving the lead back to Indian River right at the end of the fourth quarter. Final score 8-7. That over sports. Have a great day, everybody.
And coming up tonight on DSN at 7, we have the Shorebirds. They're at home. They're taking on the Carolina Mudcats. Then catch the final score at 10:30 on the DSN Plus app. At 5, we have high school basketball from Queen Anne's County. At 6, it's high school field hockey at DE Turf. High school boys basketball at Crown Sports Center. At 6:30, Delmarva Pony League baseball.
If you are having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday. And here's a look at what's coming up this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
It's another hot one here along coastal Delmarva. Maybe you can cool down with a little bit of Coast Life. Let's see what's coming up today at 4. We are making sure that when you're at the beach, you stay safe on the beach, and a great way to anchor down that beach umbrella.
Plus, we're talking about artificial intelligence again, this time debating, should there be offices where there's no AI at all?
Ooh, an interesting question. We'll get into it, but also celebrating some pride because June is Pride Month in Salisbury. All that fun and more is coming up today at 4. We'll see you then.
Seeing lots of warm conditions right now out there across Delmarva. Blue skies, 81 in Lewis on the Irish Ice Cam. It's another day of dangerous heat. It's a code red for that with the extreme heat, and another code red into tomorrow. But that's the last day of the heat. We get a break with some rain and cooler temperatures for the end of the week. But much more on the dangerous heat coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is now 6:47 and we are taking a live look outside at Laurel this morning on a very warm Tuesday morning. We're not seeing too much of a scorching sun yet, Bob. I think later today that sun is going to be brutal and we're going to hope to run into some shade at some points if you're outside.
I think we're going to have to create our own shade. At least we're going to have to go under a tree or, the shady side of a building or something, because we're not going to see anything in the way of clouds at all. And I think after about 8 a.m., we're really going to start to feel that sizzling sunshine. Hazy, hot, and humid, near 100 today. Record highs, I think, will fall, and the heat index in excess of 110 in a lot of cases. And then Wednesday, still oppressive heat, maybe a couple degrees cooler, but still mid to upper 90s with high UV index as well. And I think we're going to see records falling. Now, I'm going with a high of 99 today. I think that will eclipse the previous record in Georgetown of 97 back in 2010. And Wednesday's high, I'm projecting 97. I think we could have a new record there too. So maybe 2 days in a row of records. And then the last 100-degree day was back in 2019. Could do it today. I think today is the hottest day. Maybe the hottest day of the summer. Extreme heat warning, interior Sussex County. A little cooler at the beaches by a few degrees. Heat advisory there until Wednesday evening with an extreme heat warning. Salisbury, Colburn, back through Ocean Pines. And then along the beaches down to Golf Club Shores, you have a heat advisory, and the Eastern Shore has an extreme heat warning. And that extends all the way up into Maine through Boston, New York, D.C., where they're going to see actual temperatures of at least 100 and probably feels like temperatures up to about 120. So really rough for them, as we have actual temperatures in the 70s to lower 80s now. 82 Rehoboth, 80 in Georgetown. I've been talking about these dew points. Anytime you're in the mid to upper 70s, it is just really atrocious. It's that air you can wear, and that's what could make it dangerous later today. It feels like temperatures close to 90 already in some places. We're not going to have any wind really, and not anything in the way of clouds as we're looking at the clear skies. High pressure still to our west with that heat dome all up and down the East Coast, with the dangerous heat still hanging in for another couple of days, as temperatures already in the mid 80s by 8:30. By 10 o'clock, we're already 92 in Salisbury, 91 in Millsboro, 80s at the beaches, 91 in Lewis by 12:30, mid to upper 90s inland. I think the farther west you go, the hotter it could be, maybe close to 100 in Salisbury, 98 in Seaford, 98 in Millsboro, and hot at the coast as well. And then still very warm this evening as temperatures only fall into the mid-70s tomorrow morning. Another hot day Wednesday, maybe not as hot as today, but still some mid to upper 90s, inland areas, 80s and 90s at the coast. And this is good to see, maybe some showers and storms that finally start to cool us down by Wednesday evening. But this muggy meter is rough, very humid to miserable conditions through the end of the week into the weekend. That's what makes it dangerous. But then we'll see that ridge start to flatten out, that bubble of heat, and we'll see increasing storms, I think, Thursday into Friday, and that will cool us down a little bit. And then even into the weekend, I know it's not the best time to see the rain, but we need it, and we'll see some periodic storms in that time period as well. About 100 in Georgetown, Seaford, and Laurel today, about 90 in Rehoboth, 98 in Dover with the very hot and humid conditions, 98 in Cambridge with 100, Federalsburg and Vienna. And I think as hot as 101 in Salisbury, 100 in Pocomoke City, with 88 in Ocean City and Chincoteague 92. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. One more code red day tomorrow for the extreme heat, 97, but feeling like as hot as 105. And then Thursday, it does start to cool down, 88, showers and storms, and then 79 on Friday, even cooler. That'll feel nice. And then we keep it unsettled into the weekend, more showers and storms, upper 80s both days, and then Monday back into the low 90s with showers and storms, but not nearly as hot as today and tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Bob. A new self-guided trail is available in Wicomico County. Many brave the heat Monday afternoon to attend the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the trail. The site includes what was once farmland but now forested. This project is a joint effort between the Maryland Forest Association, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, and the Nature Conservancy. All those agencies say they're excited to bring a new educational resource to the community.
Working together, it's really allowed us to tap into our local community, local loggers, local mills, while we're working to restore these natural areas. And with this trail, we're just super excited to invite people onto the preserve and to come see a beautiful natural area while learning about active management.
And Joe Henson of the Maryland Forest Association says he hopes the groups can bring trails like this to other parts of Maryland.
And the time is now 6:52, and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And this hour, our coastal pet is a pup waiting for breakfast. That is 2-year-old Tilly. You can see Tilly's not a morning person, but she is a very happy pup.
Aww.
This ray of sunshine was submitted to us by Paula in Rehoboth Beach.
And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
If you do that, we got that QR code top center. There it is. Scan it, get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
Time is now 6:56, and we are going to take another look at our very, very, very warm forecast.
Yeah, Bob, I'm going with that late 80s supergroup, the Power Station.
Oh, yes.
You're going to be with me on this. Some like it hot.
Yeah, yep.
I like
Isn't
it hot.
that Robert Palmer?
Yeah, he was in there.
Yep, and it's
Duran,
kind of.
was it Duran guys?
I was like, yeah,
Lisa,
Duran
you care to
guys.
chime in on that?
It was
That
that
I do not know.
Oh, you don't know?
The
Lisa?
Power Station.
No, I know. I don't know.
Yeah, yep. And I'm thinking of the late great Glenn Fry as well. Yeah. The heat is on. Yep. So we're looking at our day part forecast, and it's going to be a hot one, looking at a lot of sunshine and then upper 90s by 4 p.m. This is inland areas, flirting with 100, especially well inland, and feels like temperatures about 105 to as hot as 115, I think, in some cases, and that makes it another dangerous afternoon with the heat. And then temperatures at the coast, very hot, mid to upper 90s. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. We have back-to-back code red days, 99 today, and then one last one Wednesday with a high of 97. Then it does start to cool down as this ridge breaks down. Showers and storms Thursday, 88. 79 on Friday. That'll feel good with showers and storms. We continue that threat for showers and storms into the weekend with upper 80s. I don't think it's going to be a washout. Back into the low 90s Monday and Tuesday, but not the excessive heat we've been seeing with more rain chances, then a little cooler and drier by Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV midday at 11.
And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Tuesday morning, everybody.